All right, so we want to find the inverse of a 3 by 3 matrix. So I've gone into, and I've already edited both a 3 by 3 and a 3 by 6 matrix so we can see an example of what we're going to do. So we're going to assume that we're capable of already going in and creating a matrix on the TI-84. So now let's go take a look at the example I created. A 3 by 3 matrix, and we want to find its inverse matrix using, so that's why I created a 3 by 6 matrix. So we also have a 3 by 6 matrix. Let's go take a look at that, which is, you can also do the same, but we have the same matrix with the identity matrix right next to it. Now, to find the inverse matrix, we can multiply any row by any scalar. We can add two rows together to create a different row. And whatever we do there, we're going to also change this identity matrix. And when this changes, once we have the identity matrix here on the left, on the right, we'll have the inverse matrix. So we're going to start off by looking to get zeros in the bottom left-hand corner, 1, 2, and 7. Let's turn those into zeros. So I can multiply row number 1 by -1 and add it to row number 2, and we'll have a 0 right here. So I go to math, and then I'm going to scroll to the bottom. You can just click up and multiply row and add. It's very important to know that you first put in what you're multiplying by, which is -1. And then using commas, we're going to recall the previous matrix that we just put in there. So second answer. I think that's the easiest way to do that. And then we're multiplying row number 1 by -1. And we're going to add it to row number 2. So you can see that we now have a 0 in this second row right here. And we're also changing this identity matrix over on the right. So now I'm going to multiply the top row by -2 and add it to row 3 to turn this into a 0. So I'm going to stay consistent for most of this, just using the same multiply and add. So we're going to multiply by negative. We're going to recall the previous matrix. We're going to multiply row number 1 and add it to row number 3. Okay, and you're closer to getting 3 zeros here. So now let's multiply row number 2 by -1 and add it to row number 3. So we'll multiply by -1, recall the matrix that we just, we're going to multiply row number 2, add to row number 3. And now that first goal is accomplished here. So we have zeros in the bottom. We have ones in the diagonal here, which is great. So now we just need to get rid of these 3's up here. So let's turn those into zeros, and we'll have the identity matrix. So I'll multiply row number 2 and add it to row number 1. So we're going to multiply row number 2 by -3. Once again, recall the we're going to multiply row number 2 and add it to row number 1. Okay, and then we'll do the same exact thing except multiply row number 3 this time. And then we'll actually be done. So we'll multiply by -3 again. Recall matrix. We'll multiply row 3 and add to row 1. All right, so see what we get here. So we can see we have the identity matrix right here, and then we have our resulting inverse matrix right here. So 7, 0, -3, -1, 1, 0, -1, -1, 1. That is the solution to the inverse of the matrix we started with using row operations.